Hi everybody, and welcome to another new episode of the All About Digital Marketing podcast. Today I'm kind of excited because I get to talk about the idea of avoiding shiny new toys. Yep, that's right. I'm talking about anything that is a piece of software, a piece of equipment, or something that you think you need to help you get to the next stage, or to help you start doing something that you've been putting off for too long. Now, the truth is we all fall into this every now and again. There's something out there, or there'll be a tool or a software that we think, without that, I can't do X. And this is something that actually invariably ends up helping people to procrastinate, and at the same time helps people to put off basically what it is that they should have already started doing. There's an old phrase, start where you are, start with what you have, just start right now. And I think that's something that's really, really invaluable. If you want to start a podcast just like this, just like what we're doing right now, you can see some equipment. If you're watching this on YouTube on our video, you can see that I've got a little deflector and I've got a microphone here that I'm talking into. But the truth is, I started this podcast with a pair of AirPods and a pair of just normal Apple earphones, that came with my iPhone. You don't need anything in particular. Now, yes, you want things to get better, and yes, the sound quality of this ATR 2100 microphone is better, but for the first 15 episodes, I didn't own a microphone, and I didn't need a microphone, and it didn't stop me from starting a podcast. So really what I'm trying to explain to everybody, whether it comes to social media and you want to get ahead and create content and have this content ready to go, but you're then saying, oh, but I need to have a Hootsuite account, or I need a Buzzsprout account, or I need a Sprout Social, or whatever account. You don't need to be spending money on this next tool that's going to help you plan your content better, or that's going to help you schedule your content and track and listen. What you need to do is get started. You want to really actually start doing something, then any other shiny new piece of kit or tool or system or SaaS product is just you finding an excuse and a great way to put off doing what you actually need to do. There is something that I find remarkably frustrating when I'm talking to clients. There's a lot that can be done with very limited amount of technology or expense or investment. Now, like I said, I agree, I am rocking a microphone and everything else. But again, as I'm recording this is episode 81, I believe. You know, we've been doing this for well over a year. But the reality is this video that I'm recording for YouTube is just my iPhone sat on a very tiny $15 GorillaPod that I've owned now for a year and a half. We don't need a lot to make good content. We don't need a lot to be able to tell our stories. In fact, every one of you who's listening to this is probably listening on your smartphone. And whilst you're listening to this on your smartphone, you are literally using the single most powerful piece of kit that you can own right now. Your smartphone will allow you to pretty much do anything. As I said, this video is being recorded on my iPhone, but at the same time, you can go and check us out on Facebook as Social Inc. Co. And you will find us there, and we've done tons of live videos. We didn't have any extra equipment. We weren't pushing multiple streams to do anything fancy. We weren't looking for anything other than a mobile phone, somebody in front of it talking, and pushing that directly as a live video. Now, again, you can find an excuse why you shouldn't be doing that or why you can't do that right now. And you might even say something along the lines of, no, but I want the latest iPhone, or I want a newer iPhone to be able to do this. None of that really matters. The idea is to be who you are and to showcase that in the best way possible. What do I mean by this? Way too many businesses want to show who they are as being big, professional, huge organizations. The reality is people buy into who you are. If you're a small business, they'll either like that or they won't. But the ones who do are far more likely to buy from you and to support you when you're having your ups and downs, and also even in the knowledge that you are smaller, which means you're more nimble, which means they actually might be a more priority client. There's a lot of reasons that are good to be small. We're a small agency. We talk about this a lot. There's 4 of us that make up the main team, and we are happy to be that size. We'll often tell people we're not for everybody. And we're okay with that as well. But the reality is that when we want to tell our story, and recently a lot of the content that's been going up from Social Link's point of view, and even on this podcast as well, where we reshare it, is what's called the Social Ink Show. The Social Ink Show is nothing more than myself and the commercial director at Social Ink having a conversation. We choose a couple of topics, we get on a Zoom call, we hit the record button, and we talk. Now, every single person listening to this can do something like that. There's no need to invest in any equipment. There's no need to invest in anything else outside of actually just using your Zoom account that you already have. And I'm sure everyone listening, if they've had to do any work online recently, or even this whole year, has used Zoom at some point. Zoom will allow you to record your call with somebody else. And from that, you can then repurpose that content in the best way possible for you. That might be finding smaller chunks of that video that you want to cut out, or it might be something as simple as just transcribing the video so that you've got a load of text, which will then allow you to write blogs or create more content. Again, the real thing that I want to try and emphasize here is if you're putting off doing something, if you're putting off getting onto those camera moments and recording videos to push to YouTube, to push to Facebook, or to go live, if you're putting that off because you don't think you have the right equipment, that's not a good enough excuse. If you're not worried, or if you're worried, about doing a podcast because you don't have a microphone yet and because you need studio and you need soundproofing and everything else, don't think about that. Right now, the best thing you can do is arrange to use Zoom to interview someone, have a chat. You can take the audio off that, and I guarantee you it'll be pretty damn good, because that's how we first started. My first few interviews with guests was done just like that. And once you see whether that process of creating content for a podcast or live videos or even YouTube videos like this one, you will then get a feel for whether or not you need to start investing. But the most important thing is it's not going to stop you from starting. It's not going to stop you from getting stuff out there and to see how people react to it, to see whether people watch it, to see whether people comment on it. For the podcast, something for us that was very important is, has anyone actually listened to it? And after about 25 episodes or so, we started to get people emailing us because they had listened to it, or people tweeting at us because they had checked out the latest episode. We don't get huge amounts of engagement like that, but we get enough to make sure that we know there is people listening and there's people that enjoy this content. That's what you're trying to do. You don't need to spend money. You don't need to take out a loan. You don't need to have a credit card that's bursting at the seams because you need all this new equipment. What you really need is to start. Start where you are with what you have and do it right now. Don't get any excuses for a shiny new tool. Don't waste money and resources trying to learn new tools and figuring out how else you can better things when you haven't actually even got started. Once you get that going, once it's starting to equate to introductions, leads, business, or even just brand recognition for you that's helping to boost your business, then you can invest. The microphone I have, I think, cost me about £80, not a huge amount of money, but again, you can invest slowly but surely to get that equipment. You don't have to have it now. You don't need any super duper special software. If you own a Mac, you can use GarageBand to record your podcasts, even using your headphones. If you have a Mac as well, you can use iMovie to cut up a Zoom recorded conversation that you've had. All of these things are available to you. And I think it's really important, again, stay away from the shiny new tools and the shiny new toys. Most of them won't help you and it won't change anything. Either start creating and start doing, then you can start looking at whether or not you need to improve your setup. But if you don't get started, it doesn't matter how shiny and how new the toy is, it's not going to help you in any way. Guys, thank you very much for listening. Please make sure you leave a comment on our social media. You can find us at All About Digmar on all of our channels, well, all of the usual channels. And you can let us know what you think of these episodes, and also whether or not you've checked out the YouTube section as well, so that you can see us and the new video content that we're trying to create. Guys, thank you very much. Stay safe, everybody, and we'll speak to you soon.